not handle all of the crying that the baby was doing. So every time the baby would cry, the father would run down the hall and pick the baby up. The mother would come in the room and say, put that baby down. And the baby's got to figure out how to make it through themselves. Daddy would put the baby back down. They go back in the room together. And sure enough, the baby would start crying all over again. He would run down there and pick that baby up, hold that baby, and she would come in there and say, I told you, don't pick that baby up no more. Let that baby cry. Put that baby back down, came back in the room. He was sitting there, that baby was crying and crying and crying. He got up and went and took care of that baby one more time. The mother ran into the room, but this time when she got in the room, she didn't see the dad holding the baby. She looked over in the crib, and the daddy had got in the crib with the baby. She said, what in the world are you doing? He said, you told me not to pick the baby up and take him out, but you didn't tell me I couldn't get in there with the baby. And what I'm trying to tell you is when God doesn't pick you up and take you out, look at your neighbor and say, he will get in there with you. He will get in there and hold you. He will get in there and comfort you. He will get in there and caress you because God is with you. Every February, my wife and I try to get away. It's our wedding anniversary, just a story time. And during the anniversary in February, we often go down to Virginia Beach. And during Virginia Beach, they have this crazy thing, I think it's crazy, called the polar plunge. Anybody ever heard about the polar plunge? It is February. We got married in February. It is cold in February. And they have this event called the polar plunge. The polar plunge is when people who have not as much sense as I think I have decide to dress up and they jump in the water and swim in the beach water in February with half their clothes on. They call it a polar plunge and think it's cool. They jump in the cold water on purpose. And I used to say, I can't believe these people out here jumping in this water. I can't believe they're in here. And then I went somewhere and they told us while I was playing sports that it is therapeutic for you to sit in cold water for a long time because it gets your muscles right. I said, what do you mean? You mean the polar plunge is actually therapeutic? And what I'm saying is these people have made up in their mind that instead of avoiding pain, they would run into the pain because something about running into the cold water actually brings them comfort and strengthens their muscle. And we're around here trying to avoid the pain, trying to get away from the pain. And what I'm telling you is if you will polar plunge, you will discover that sometimes running into the pain, instead of acting like the pain is not there, will somehow cause you to become stronger and a little more tolerant. I'm saying you ought to have a holy polar plunge. Instead of acting like it's not happening and it's not hurting, say, you know what, it is happening and it is hurting, but God is still with me. And because God is still with me, everything will work out for the good. Now, brothers and sisters, that is today's message. Today's message to you, despite what you came to hear, is that you have strength in your suffering because God is for you and God is with you. I submit to you, you will have some tough times. You will have some difficult days. You will have some medical procedures to go through. You will grieve the loss of loved ones. And no one ever wants their loved one to pass. And it shouldn't be right that your loved one has passed. There will be some segregation and there will be some separation. There will be some moments that we feel that we are not receiving justice. There will be some days where the laws are not going our way. There will be some days where you are mistreated. There will be some opportunities that are missed, not because you couldn't do it, but because you were overlooked. There will be some times where your faith starts to falter and the love is not present. There will be some days where you feel as if God has abandoned you, but I've come today to tell you He is here, that God is with us, that God does care for us, that God does love us. And as I get ready to take my seat, what I love is that Isaiah is talking about Jesus in the book of Isaiah. He's talking about Jesus in the Old Testament, which means he already sees what Jesus will do on the cross. So for somebody listening saying, Pastor, it's good to know he's here, but how long is it going to take? I asked him the same thing. He told me no man knows the day or the hour. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know how long these officers will be in administration. I don't know how long the terrorists are going to exist. I don't know how long guns are still going to be on the streets. I don't know how long you'll be separated from your loved one. I don't know how long the pain will exist after grieving, after the loss of the loved one. I don't know how long the cancer is and how long the radiation will be. I'm not sure how many more days you have, but what I do know is that God is here. What I do know is that if He's with you, you're able to handle it. What I do know is that if God be for you, He's more than the whole world that is against you. I love it because Isaiah is talking about Jesus. He's talking about Jesus because what he knows is that Jesus will indeed carry the cross. What he knows is that Jesus will feed the 5,000. He will heal the blind man. He will straighten up a man going whose back is bent. He will give a healing to some. But what I love most is he knows that Jesus will endure the cross. It is theologian James Cone, liberation theology. James Cone, who suggests that the cross is not only to be viewed solely as a place of spiritual redemption. He says it is also a metaphor for how America has crucified the minority. He says just as Jesus had no choice in journeying into Calvary, minorities have no choice about being lynched. Yet God took the evil of the cross and the lynching tree and transformed them both into the triumph and the beauty of the divine. That's a whole lot of jargon that says he took what the devil meant for evil and he turned it in for good. Because contrary to popular belief, the cross is not some spiritual item that is used to be held up and celebrated, but the cross was used for execution. Only those who were cursed were supposed to die on the cross. Only those who were criminals were supposed to die on the cross. Only those who were supposed to have done wrong were to die on the cross. Only those who had committed wrongdoings were supposed to deal with crucifixion on the cross, which means when God looked at the cross, he realized that it should have been our pain. But I'm so glad he decided to suffer for us. I'm glad that we didn't have to endure the cross, but instead they stretched him wide and they lifted him high. I said, I'm so glad that while we read Isaiah 53, verse 1 through 4, that the Bible doesn't stop at verse 4, but it keeps on going. So yes, he took our pain, and yes, he bore our suffering. But I love what verse 5 says, because it says he was wounded for our transgressions, and he was bruised for our iniquities, and the chastisement of our peace were upon us. In other words, whenever you suffered, it's because God has already taken the pain. He has already carried the price. And if you keep on reading, you'll get to verse 11, and it says, after he has suffered, he will see the light of life. And I need you to turn to your neighbor and say, you might suffer a little while, but what I've come to learn is that trouble don't last always, that we serve a God who will give you strength. We serve a God who has given you power. We serve a God who can help you while you're in it. I wish I could bring you out, but I've come to declare that while you're in it, this will not be to your demise. It will not destroy your peace. It will not take away your joy. It will not divide your family. It will not crush our communities. It will not reduce your anointing, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. And I wonder, is there anybody here that knows you still got strength? Because if you got strength while you're in it, my grandmama would say, you don't have to wait till the battle is over, but you can give them praise right now. Is there anybody that can give God praise with tears in your eyes? Can you give God praise while you're still still in pain? Can you give God praise when you still don't have an answer? Because what you know is that there's strength in your suffering. So here's what David said. Battle-worn David, beat down David, struggling David, under